Have you ever wanted to know what it would take to build a dream shop in a suburban type of environment? Well, I certainly did, and I just found out, and now that I know, kind of wish I'd never found out. Because it looks like we're building it ourselves. Let's go. Just a few months ago, we talked about a three-letter curse word that was spelled H-O-A, and I figured the Homeowners Association would be the most difficult part about accomplishing this dream shop, but it's been one-upped by something called inflation and getting taken advantage of by several contractors and Home Advisor. So guys, aloha and good evening, and welcome back to this little piece of paradise I call the Lonestar Hawaiian garage, which we're gonna be giving you an update on how this shop slash build slash dream garage is going. It's been a slow process, but a lot of you guys have been asking so many questions on where's the shop? What are you doing with the shop? What is the update on the shop? This is gonna be an all-encompassing update on what's been done so far and a breakdown by price and element for contractors to come in here and build this shop. And it might shock you, this price, because it might be cheaper to buy an entire house. So if you guys are new around here, I'm just a crazy Hawaiian Texan that loves cars, has created this little piece I truly do call paradise here in Paradise Cove. About 5 months ago, we had to deal with my wife that once this channel exceeded 100,000 subscribers, I got the green light to pursue the build of my dream shop. For context, we do live in a very wide open country setting here in North Texas, but we are part of a suburban neighborhood that is attached to something called an HOA, which I'm not super thrilled about, to be all honest. Our HOA is pretty dang awesome, and within those guidelines, I have the ability to go build what I'm trying to do here with certain stipulations attached. And over the last 3 months, I need to put this down before I heard something. Talked to dozens of contractors and companies and even Home Advisor and Angie's about what it's going to take to build this little special place that we're gonna be calling Molokai. Now the goal with Molokai was to build a 40 foot by 50 foot shop or detached garage, but this was something I felt was a little outside my comfort zone, my expertise, to build myself with no experience. But with the numbers that we were just given, that might actually be the only way to do this thing. So before we get into what's over there, because I'm pretending to be my own architect, let's get a price breakdown on specifically what I've been quoted. If you guys know a background on how much these elements should actually cost, please be active in the comments below, because I'm certain that you know a lot better than I do. Get this going! Project Molokai. Now the first part of our project is our concrete foundation. Now what I've been quoted on here is a 40 by 50 concrete slab, 4,000 PSI concrete, including the rebar, footings, etc. And it's not listed on the estimate, but I was told over the phone that this would probably be a 6-inch slab. Now this is a pretty large slab, 2,000 square feet. Preparation for the slab should be relatively low touch. There's not a lot of grading needed. The quote I've been given, brace yourself here, $51,012. Now, if you're curious, that does break down to $25.51 a square foot, which is about 3 times what I had seen across the internet. Now, the next piece of this is the ability to get to the shop from the current driveway, which is extending the driveway to the shop about 40 feet. Now I'm gonna move the cost over here because that's probably what you are most interested in. We're gonna put that at 16 feet in width, 4-inch thick driveway with number 3 rebar, framed and brushed. This cost is a grand whopping total $19,078. If you break that down, 4-inch thick slab, number 3 rebar, $29.81 a square foot. Now tell me if I'm wrong here, but I thought a 4-inch thick driveway would be cheaper than a 6-inch thick engineered slab, but that's just me. So just for our concrete so far, we are already exceeding $70,000. The next thing up on the quote is our roof. Part of my HOA guidelines, it has to match the roof of our main structure, which is an asphalt shingle. Now, 2,000 square foot building, I'm estimating about 2,200 square feet of space for the roof. This comes out to a whopping grand total of $13,852, which for perspective is about $6.30 a square foot. So let's now provide the big meat and potatoes part of this estimate, which is the building. So obviously there's a lot to this part of the quote. This building is going to be a wood frame or stick frame. I know a lot of you have recommended doing a pole barn metal building. Unfortunately, from what I've heard from these contractors, given my HOA guidelines and the city building codes and the size of the building, just cannot be part of the conversation. So stick built frame, electrical running from the house to the shop, and the exterior is going to have a 48-inch brick wainscot, and then the rest of it will be just the hardy siding. And a big piece of this is the interior is not finished out at all. No lighting, no drywall, no paint, nothing. Bare bones interior is what I've been quoted here. If you aren't sitting down, go ahead and have a seat because this is gonna be a little bit painful. For these bare bones of a building, $261,036. And just for fun, breaking that down by square foot is $130.52 per square foot for, call it the exterior of the building. Again, interior completely untouched. Ouch! And I know most of you guys are smarter than I am, so if you've already done that in your head, that puts us at a grand total of just south of $345,000 for a 2,000 square foot box. So, what do you guys think? For additional perspective, I bought this house and entire property over an acre, 3,000 square foot home, absolutely gorgeous home. It was only 4 years old when we bought it. About $400,000 is what we paid for the house. To build a 2,000 square foot box on the property that already exists and I own, it's gonna be $345,000. I'm just assuming here. I think this is a load of crap. Now, one or two things I think maybe could be impacting this is I asked for a 12-foot eave height and somewhat of a high clearance truss because I do want to put a lift in there. I want to be able to lift these trucks up at least 5 feet or so. The ceilings in my house are 10-foot ceilings. Theoretically, it costs a little bit more to go another 2 feet there, but I just don't know. Concrete foundation, 6 foot, 4,000 PSI, 2551 a square foot. I think that's a bit high. Actually, I think it's incredibly high. Not as high as this, 2981 a square foot for a 4-inch thick number 3 rebar driveway. The roof asphalt shingles, $630 a square foot. And lastly, this building, $130 a square foot for the bare bones of a building. No drywall, no paint, no electrical, no lighting, nothing. $130 a square foot. Comments below, guys. Where am I getting taken advantage of here? And is it not all of it? The next question is, where do we go from here? From what I see, I have the opportunity now to accomplish 2 dreams or bucket list items that I have. Number 1 being owning a shop, getting a dream garage, but the other one being building it. Because there is no freaking way I can afford $345,000. It's just shy what I paid for this house, and it's gonna take me 30 years to pay this thing off. That's just not a possibility. So the only way we're gonna make this thing happen is trust in these guys. Now I can already see it there in the comments below. If you're hire a professional, do this, you have the experience. I've watched like 11 YouTube videos. I'm ready now. We're good, we're good. With all that in mind, we dove right in. What I did first is went to Walmart and bought some art supplies, because that's what a builder does, right? As I look closer and closer and started to really realize and lay things out as it's gonna sit on a schematic, I didn't really need a full 40 by 50. I brought it down just a bit. This is going to be a 36 by 48 shop. When we originally started to draw this thing out, I was envisioning having 2 garage doors, 10 by 10, with the roof trusses coming this way, which gives me a little more clearance there in the center for a 2-post lift I was gonna situate towards the back of the shop. As I drew this thing out, this is to scale 1 centimeter equals 1 foot. What I also did was cut out a few pieces of paper to scale on some of the vehicles. Night Matcha ZL1, 2020 Trail Boss, 07 Silverado, 2004 Corvette. Now I figured with the 2 doors, we can get in and out of the garage easily situated. And then we have our 04 Corvette. This 36 by 48 space, even accommodating for the width of the walls and drywall. If I do need more space, we'll throw some lifts in the back and double stack them there in the rear. Now, as I thought more about this, having 2 garage doors, if I park anything out front of the garage, you're gonna be blocking one of the doors. What if I just switch to 1 door, use some of that investment, it's a little bit wider, and that's what we came to. 12-foot wide door, 10 foot in height, and it actually doesn't hinder anything at all. It's a win-win. We're gonna go with a single garage door, 12 foot in width, 10 foot in height. Which brings us to our scaled drawing of Molokai. Burned my entire night drawing this thing to scale. 1 centimeter equals 1 foot. Now in terms of the details of the building, I do need some professional opinions and let me know if I'm absolutely crazy here. 48-inch brick wainscot with some limestone accents to match the exterior of the main structure. We have our 12-foot wide by 10-foot door. We have one man door, 36-inch by 80-inch. We have a 3x3 window there in the front. And then on the side, looking to do probably 3 windows across the side. Now, one critical difference between this and the quote we got is a 10-foot eave height. I was looking at initially doing a 12-foot to accommodate a lift, but I can utilize a scissor truss on my roof, which will give me additional ceiling height, typically used for like vaulted ceilings and whatnot. What this will give me with a 612 roof pitch, lower pitch being a 312, 14.5 peak ceiling height. 2-post lift would be about 13 feet, which will allow me to lift my 2007 Silverado almost 6 feet. So first question, am I absolutely crazy, or do they actually make a scissor truss to span 36 feet? Now we did go on Binpack's website to look at the specs between their 2-post lift. And if I go with the XPR 10S model, column width on the 2-post lift is around 140 inches. I centered that perfectly in the garage towards the back. That gives me 13 feet of maximum height where those 2 posts come up. Now another thing to note is I originally was looking at a 412 roof pitch, which I believe is pretty standard for barns and shop buildings. But the more and more I looked at this 412, which is what I have drawn here, I didn't like how it came up in the height of the building. I'd like to go with a 612. It just looks better altogether. The next question I have for you guys, with a 10-foot eave height, is it possible to engineer this front truss or wall to accommodate a door the same height as the eave? We're gonna have 12 feet between the side wall and where the door starts. Is it possible to put a 10-foot door with a 10-foot eave? I hope it is, because this whole entire thing depends upon being able to do this 10-foot door. So I am over here pretending a little bit to be my own architect. I wanna lay out all the details of how I envision them before I go start talking to structural engineers or whatnot, just to get the process moving forward. One question I do have for the experts is, do I need to pay an architect to draw this thing out? Given the basic nature of a shop, it's literally a box with high clearance trusses. Do I really need to pay an architect to draw this thing out before I go talk to a structural engineer? Or can I go straight to a structural engineer with plans like this? Let me know in the comments below, because I have no idea. Check that guy once more. 36 feet, perfect. Ooh, this one's all bent. Thank you, Kavika. Ran that over with this car. 36 minus 12 is what? Carry the 2, carry the 1, 25, 24. And the good news is the donut marks are all encompassed in the 36 by 48 feet, which means I can do donuts in this thing if I'm stupid enough. 98.6% sure I'm stupid enough. And by the way, I got sprinkler systems all throughout here, so I'm certain I'm gonna be replacing a few sprinkler heads after this video. Not gonna need them in this space anyways. What do you guys think? I love this. For some perspective, guys, I know I said perspective a lot in this, but that's all we have at the moment. That's 10 feet. So that corner is a 10-foot eave height. And just in theory, visualizing this, 10-foot eave height would be here, a 612 roof pitch on top. The center peak, the highest point of this, is gonna be 19 feet tall. A little bit of an overhang on the front side, 12-foot door, and then another 12-foot space here across the front where we can park a vehicle and not block anything. Vehicles in person are a lot bigger than they are on cardboard. But even walking behind here, yeah, I can fit an entire truck behind the ZL1, even where it's sitting right now. Listen to music? Joys of having a 5-year-old. You don't need to drive, we can wait at least another year. You can drive at 6, how about that? This is epic. You know, all we need now is just the thing to go on top of it. That's sick. That's a sight that will never get old. But guys, really good news. The greatest cameraman in the world, Lonestar Hawaiian Junior Edition.
That's a Papa's car.
He's getting so good at being a cameraman. I'm loving this. So we have our 2017 ZL1, 2020 Trail Boss, 07 Silverado. So these 3 cars are just kind of sitting representation of width-wise. We do have the ability to sit 2 deep. Really, really easy. The 2-post lift will go right behind where the ZL1's sitting right now. And even with that lift in there, we have full access to drive in and out of this garage. Even with the ZL1 parked right here, I can still maneuver this truck and get it out of this represented space. Can you say Molokai?
Molokai.
Shoots. Can you say, smash that like button?
That's right.
Subscribe below.
That's great.
I don't know what I'm talking about. full transparency, this is the third video we've had on this topic, standing around some sticks in my backyard. Every single one of those video iterations, there's been kind of an important update. This is probably the most important because up until this point, I felt I had the funds necessary to hire a few contractors to make this shop happen. Across national averages, RV garages range between $90,000 and $120,000. That's for someone else to build them. And I figured there's some efficiencies in there, given the labor rate of this state is a little bit lower than call it like a California or New York, but that wasn't the case. The estimates came back 3x that amount. I cannot afford for someone else to build this, which gives me the opportunity to accomplish those two dreams I mentioned earlier, getting a shop of my dreams and building it with my own two hands. There's gonna be elements of this, obviously, we're gonna be hiring out, like the foundation, obviously, ain't touching that. We got a lot of steps to do, and I have a lot of questions out there in this video I need your help on in the comments below. I'm gonna be spending a lot of time in those comments from this video, so thank you in advance for your input. I value your time. I thank you for your expertise. I love this community that we have and the amount of expertise we have collectively. You guys are way smarter than I am. I'm just a guy on the camera talking to y'all. So thank you. We're gonna make it happen one way or another. Let's do this.
Bye, Pop.
Oh, he wasn't very happy about that. In my defense, it was already broken.
This guy. You.